This podcast was recorded on a Wabakal and Yugambeh land. Hi, I'm Kurt Fearnley, Paralympian.
And I'm Paralympian Alice Sabljak.
How amazing was it to be together in one studio here in Newcastle last week, Ella?
It was so beautiful. There's something around that connection that you have with being in the same room with people like yourself and Riley. It was, I don't know, you just can't get that anywhere else over Zoom. And yeah.
And I think because it's the celebration phase as well, that moment after you qualified for the Paralympic Games with the Steelers, but you haven't really kind of got into the grind of the performance time. So it was almost like a quick catch up. Everything's good. You nailed it. You smashed it. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, it was an absolute cracker. So go back through your feed and download last episode of You Little Ripper. Have you ever rode horses, Ella?
Oh, I've ridden a horse one or two times when I was younger. I had a few friends that owned barns and we jumped on the horses, and sometimes they were well behaved and I didn't have to hold on very tight, and the other times I just looked at trying to climb up on these ginormous animals and thought, better not.
I spent a fair bit of time on horses as a kid. I spent a fair bit of time getting bucked off horses when I was a kid. We just had the angriest little horse out at our place, and that thing, I think it took great joy in trying to break my bones. But somebody who is amazing with horses, me and Riley Batt got to catch up with Emma Booth last week, and Emma tuned in at like 2 a.m. over in Europe. She was hunting for a new steed, and Emma Booth has found one.
Incredible.
Emma's found Samir, who is an 8-year-old. I'm not sure what 16.2 HH, what that means.
16 hands?
16 hands.
That's how they measure horses.
You are a horse person, Ella. Well, it's 16.2 hands. It's chestnut gelding by Scolari out of a Weltmeier mare, and is owned and trained by Germany's Marco Burig. Good job, Marco. Hopefully we get to see Emma take it to the heights of the Paralympic Games. And on Emma's social media, check it out, Emma Booth. Emma said, I'd like to introduce my new dancing partner, the unicorn that was in the right place at the right time. Samir has a wonderful, cheeky personality and absolutely loves people. He loves human interactions, cuddles, and attention. Kudos, Emma. Could you imagine the nerves, Ella, of being months out from a Paralympic Games, and even could you imagine changing chairs, let alone horses?
Well, no, I also couldn't imagine the stress of traveling with a horse. I think traveling with chairs, I've got, my chair and my wheel bag, and that's painful enough as it is, let alone having to deal with customs and traveling with horses overseas. So I think it's wonderful that Emma's been able to find Samir over in Europe so it doesn't have to travel, the 25 hours to get over to Paris. Fingers crossed she gets there. The dream's alive.
Well, the first step is done. Emma Booth had a horse. She will be busily getting ready to qualify for Paris in 2024. Remember, those who love the equestrian sport, You Little Ripper is the home of equestrian parasport and all things parasport. You Little Ripper moments this week. Now, I'm going to jump in first. We had Hani Watson set a new Oceania record at the Sharm El Sheikh Powerlifting World Cup event. Her 136-kilogram lift, it moves her to 7th in the world, with the top 8 to qualify for Paris in 2024. 7th out of 8th. There's an upward trajectory here, but our huge congratulations go out to Hani, and I can't wait to see where she goes in the next competition. The final 8 will be confirmed after the World Cup event in Georgia in June, so only a couple more months left of the qualifying period. Ella, what's your You Little Ripper moment?
Well, my You Little Ripper moment happened over this last weekend. So we hosted, Sydney hosted an international para-archery event down at Homebush. And oh my goodness, didn't we dominate? We had 4 golds. So Jonathan Mill, Chris Davis, Rebecca Woods, and in the VI classification, Craig Newbury, all won gold. So we also had 2 silvers and 3 bronze medals, which puts us in a really good position for getting a lot of Aussies on that para archery team over in Paris.
We are seeing some teams just really kick on in this last 12 months. We've had some great success, obviously, with the Steelers qualifying for the games. We've had some great success in the wheelchair basketball with the Rollers. Up ahead, we have the Gliders, the women's wheelchair basketball team, hoping and vying for qualification over the next month. I'm sure that we'll have great news next time we're here at you, Little Ripper. But one of the biggest growth sports within the Paralympic movement in Australia is the Australian table tennis team. They are filled with superstars. And one of the superstars is here with us today, Millie Tapper. Millie, welcome to you, Little Ripper.
Thank you very much for having me.
I saw just on your social media the other day, 6 countries, 6 weeks. It was a bit of a reminder about how sport kind of drags you from pillar to post. Sometimes they're long, drawn out drags, and sometimes they're quick turnarounds. How are you managing the pace leading into a Paris Paralympic experience?
Yeah, to be honest, the whole cycle goes so quickly, and then the Paralympic year kind of just turns into a massive whirlwind. But the last stint I did of 6 weeks has been the longest I've done probably since before Rio, where I probably would have spent like 2 to 3 months away. So 6 weeks was still a pretty short one in comparison. But to be honest, it was probably the easiest 6 weeks I've done. I knew I sort of had a bit of a journey ahead of me and a bit of a challenge, but we kind of took it on with that mind frame that it was going to be a fun challenge. And it really was. Like, I actually absolutely loved it. Got to travel through a lot of different countries, enjoy a bit of Asia and Europe, and each sort of stage that I went through had a different group of teammates and coaches and people around me. So to be honest with you, yeah, it was definitely the easiest 6 weeks I've done overseas.
And so, like, what's changed since Rio? So what's made this the longest time you've been away compared to previous times?
I think probably more so for Rio, I had the bigger kind of drive in me to try and get, the most length of improvement. And we sort of knew at that period of time, being overseas and having like international competitions was what I really needed at that point. And that, then required being overseas for quite a big chunk of time. And then since then, table tennis has been evolving and developing quite a lot in Australia, and it's been really exciting that I now have the opportunity to stay at home a lot more now rather than having to go overseas. So that's been nice. But this time around, just to try and give myself the best possible chance to qualify for the Paralympics kind of required me to put a big stint in. And I'm glad I did, because I absolutely loved it, actually.
How's the form? You're still loving it? How's the results?
They're going all right at the moment. I don't want to jinx myself. Touch wood. I'm touching all the wood I can find. But my body's great. My head is great. And it's kind of coming across on out there on the court as well. I am really lucky though with the people I have a part of my team, because I was probably in quite a bit of a slump towards the end of last year, and a bit of a rut that I was finding quite difficult to come out of. But then, shout out to Kylie, who's my nutritionist at the VIS, sort of identified this and then was, straight into action. The entire support crew got behind me, and we worked out a way that, all right, what do I need to do to sort of get myself out of it and enjoy table tennis again? And I'm super grateful to them and a lot of other people that I have around me, because it was from that moment on things, began to pick up. And again, like I said, I'm in a really good headspace, and my body's really, withstanding everything at the moment. So super happy.
I had a really challenging last 3 years, I reckon, in my sporting career. And I really did have to go back to basics and remind myself about why I got in. You get to this kind of gratitude place. Is that the same experience that you had? Because you spoke then briefly about the gratitude that you're feeling right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think like when being an athlete is just about all you know, you kind of just get caught up in that whole world as well. And at times you forget like totally how awesome it is to be an athlete. Like I love the training side, the hard work, the sweat, seeing improvements. And sometimes you can kind of, when you're just continuously on the grind, you kind of forget about the privilege that you have getting to do that. And I think, yeah, when that sort of trailed along, and then I then needed sort of a bit of a reminder that I don't have to play sport if I don't want to, but this is the other option if you don't play sport. And yeah, that was sort of like a little bit of an eye-opener that I can't play forever, and I want to start sort of using my skills and my knowledge in another way. So yeah, that's sort of where it in my head, I knew that this year is going to be my last year, and therefore to enjoy it and kind of get to end my career the way I would like to choose to. I know a lot of athletes don't get the opportunity to end their career the way they want, but if I can finish up in Paris, then I think, oh yeah, again, incredibly grateful for everything that sport has given me and the people around me. So I think knowing that also made that 6 weeks I just had fun. You know what I mean? Like that was the fun challenge I was having ahead of me to try and get myself to Paris.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as athletes, when we are, in the thick of it, and sometimes we do forget about that gratitude, we attach our self-worth to the result and like what's happening. And then like it takes a lot of work to come back to being in the moment. What are we doing? Appreciating everything and everyone around you. And I've heard, especially your table tennis team, they're the best. And I've only heard incredible things about, Pippa, your coaches, everything that's coming. And then that, the people around you. And when you start to attach yourself to those things rather than the outcome and the process, you learn to love it, and you do appreciate like the little moments. And I know for me, I don't know if this is going to be my last games or not, but I'm starting to appreciate, the speed sessions we have on court. And, if you asked me 6 months ago, I'd be like, no way, I hate conditioning. But I love it now. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, the gratitude and getting around everybody, it's just what makes, the games so much.
Nobody likes the conditioning sessions though, Ella. Millie?
Oh, but I do. I do.
Oh.
That's the sort of stuff maybe there's something a bit wrong with me there, but that's the sort of stuff I love. Like, yeah, it's that hard work though, and you just know it. And like when you're absolutely cooked at the end of it, like it's an addiction within itself. I don't know if that's healthy or not, but yeah.
It's a good rush. It's like that you're in the flow, and it's that, what do they call it? Like the runner's high. So that is addictive.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Your team as well, Millie, Ella touched on it, how well-renowned the team is throughout the rest of the Paralympic movement. We had incredible success at Tokyo. How are we looking team-wise going into Paris?
Yeah, again, the team very similar with a couple of newbies following on from Tokyo. Super excited. And again, we've just had more opportunity traveling together and creating, more of a bond between us, which is always a whole lot of fun when you travel overseas as a large group. But yeah, the table tennis team, to be honest, is absolutely awesome. And yeah, with some of our newbies heading over to Paris as well, I'm really excited for them to get that experience as well. I know for a few of them it's been a long time in the making, so it's a great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, unreal. I think you've got such a depth of experience in your team as well. You've got, Danny Totoro, who's going on to like what, her seventh games, I think it is. Eighth?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then you've got the newbies coming through as well. So, using that depth of experience is going to be awesome. Yeah, so Danny's going to her 8th games.
Yeah.
What a journey. And so just touching on that as well, Millie, you've been to the Olympics and you've also been to the Paralympics. What makes the Paralympics better?
You're not wrong there. I thought you were actually going to ask me which one do I love more, and it's like, hang on, like you're asking me to choose between who I love more out of my mum and dad. Like,
choose, Millie, choose.
You must. But you're right. Like, I have to admit, from the first time I ever played my first Paralympic event, which was a Asia Oceania Regionals in 2009 in Jordan. And it was this event that completely changed everything I could have or would have had in my head about Paralympic sport. And with that was what got me completely hooked within the Paralympic movement. I think just the fact that you can be inside a stadium that is meant to be filled with athletes that have a disability, yet the only thing you do notice is their ability to play table tennis or whatever sport that they're doing. You actually just realize how incredible para-athletes are at just finding ways. And I feel like it's sport at its most raw form. People that work so hard to be the best that they can be. And same with like Olympic able-bodied athletes as well. But I think there's a little different element of fire that comes with a Paralympic athlete.
Millie, you're not just kicking goals and gold medals all around the world in table tennis, but you did launch your brand, Southwest Society, last year. How's it all going?
Yeah. So far, so good. I mean, it's a slow process, but I'm absolutely enjoying the new challenge. It's a little modest clothing line that's got 2 T-shirts and a jumper, and the whole aim of it is that percentage of profits goes towards Better Together, which is a not-for-profit that builds accessible playgrounds for kids. And that kind of came about with my hometown of Hamilton in Southwest Victoria. Hence, it's got a little bit of Southwest in the naming of the brand. But yeah, there wasn't an accessible playground in Hamilton, and I was, to be honest, quite shocked that we didn't have one. So that was probably the big motivator in starting to realize that that needs to change, and then just creating greater awareness and knowledge as well then around disability. But I kind of realized as well that if it's happening in Hamilton, where else is it also happening? So it's definitely a larger thing to start tackling. But we're starting small, and we'll see where we can get to. But yeah, it's a super fun project for me, but slow and steady.
I love that. We recently went to the park with my nieces, and there was this little track around the edge, and my husband couldn't get to the playground. And it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is probably I'm grateful in the sense that, like, as I was growing up, I was able to access quite a lot. Being my arm as my disability, it was maybe like the monkey bars or something that required upper body strength that might have been a bit more difficult for me. But particularly with mobility and children in wheelchairs, like not being able to go with their brothers or sisters or friends onto a playground, or have to sit from further back because they can't get anywhere close to the playground. I think that is something that kind of absolutely breaks my heart, the fact they can't join in the basic little elements of having fun with friends. So slowly it's always going to be an area to try and improve on, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Rid the world of wood chips.
Yes.
Millie Tapper, rid the world of them.
Yes.
Oh, if not for accessibility, for when they get into your shoes and it's just, so annoying.
It's the little things.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on You Little Ripper. Millie, we are so excited to follow your journey into Paris, being your last one, and we only wish you the best. And I can't believe this might be your last. Never say never. But we can't wait for your journey.
Oh, thank you guys very much for having me.
Thanks, Millie. We'll be cheering.
Woo!
Now, for everyone out there who would like to get one of Mealy Tapper's brands, it's southwestsociety.com.au. Support accessible playgrounds. Do it now. Jump on. And Ellis, how good is Mealy Tapper? She has such a wealth of experience. Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, Com Games, World Championships. She crosses the lot.
And she's so humble, so humble. Such a lovely presence. And yeah, I think she's wonderful. And I wish her all the best.
And some superstars in the Australian table tennis team. We mentioned Denny Dottora. We also have Marlin. Marlin is a arm amputee as well. And he tells a story, and I tell it to you, Little Ripper audiences, all the time. His arm was taken off in a bear cage when he was 2 or 3 years old. And he says he's that tough. He did not shed one single tear. I can't back that up with any sort of, there's no factual proof there, but if he tells me it, I'm running on it. We also have Yang Chan and Lin Ale. So it is an amazing star-studded team in the Australian Paralympic table tennis team. Oh, my goodness, we're at the end of another episode, Ella Sabljak.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We love all things parasport and want to share how amazing it is with the rest of the world, but we need your help to do that.
We need you to tell all of your friends. Oh, well, start with one friend. How about one friend today? I feel like I am selling a set of cutlery on afternoon TV 25 years ago. Tell one friend, 2 friends, 5 friends today. And then please leave us a review.
And then get that one friend to tell another friend about us.
Now it's a pyramid scheme.
Because we will be back with more interviews with your favourite athletes. So make sure you follow You Little Ripper on social media and wherever you get your podcasts.
And we would like to say a big thank you to Toyota for supporting this episode of You Little Ripper. Oh, what a feeling. Thanks, Toyota.